We're going to switch up the show just a little bit and bring in our good friend, Chief Greg Flynn over at the West Bloomfield Fire Department, because you guys are doing a drive-through vaccination service there at the Fire Station 1, right, Chief?
Good morning, Ronnie and Tyler. We're with our partners at Oakland County Health. Their staff is running the clinic here today over at Fire Station 1. And I want to start off by saying these are all scheduled appointments today. Everything that the folks are behind me, as you see cars go by, all of them have a scheduled appointment. Nobody is just showing up at Fire Station 1 today.
Yeah, because that is important for people to understand that there's a process to be able to get this. How exactly is this working? Because they pull up, they wait in line. Do they have scheduled times to be able to come there?
Right. So if anybody goes down Orchard Lake Road by in front of the high school here where Fire Station 1 is, you're going to see two of our West Bloomfield police officers out in the turn lane, just kind of slowing everybody down in the area. Folks with an appointment will come in the north apron, the north entrance to the fire station. You'll see a couple bays behind me, the apparatus bays that are open. There's 2 lanes of vaccinations going on. There's going to be over 500 vaccines going into arms here in West Bloomfield today. We're very excited to be part of that and the great success that Oakland County Health and their staff are having with getting these vaccines into arms very quickly.
Yeah, Oakland County has been pretty creative in trying to make it accessible to as many people as possible. And these drive-through vaccination clinics, such as what's happening there, is just one of the ways that they're doing. Chief, what is the process once they get the shot? Because I know people have to be monitored for a certain amount of time to make sure that they don't have any reaction.
Sure, that's a great question. So as they come in on that north apron, they're greeted by someone that's just going to put them in one of the 2 lines. After that, they're greeted by another staff member that checks them in and ensures that they have an appointment. Those that think they're going to be able to sneak in, there's an out spot there where send them on. Once they check in there, they move up to the next spot where they scan their QR code, and that all gets inputted. They check all the patient, all the participants' information, and then they finally move up to the last spot, which is where you can see these cars coming out right now. They just received their vaccine from the nurse. They're going to continue across the south apron into the south lot by the tennis courts in front of the high school. And there, they'll be under observation of a registered nurse, and they'll wait their 15 minutes. And then they're out, and they're right turn only onto Orchard Lake Road, and they're on their way.
I will say the good thing about this is they don't have to leave their cars, because even if you were getting the shot on a day like today, you have to get out, go into the hospital. So this is a good way to do it in this terrible weather.
It is, and we think it's really safe. It's safe for our seniors too, so we're not getting them out onto slippery surfaces and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank our Parks Department, our Water and Sewer Department. They came through real strong this morning to help us salt and put down a lot of salt and some pre-treatment from our Parks Department yesterday with a brine solution to really make this safe for everybody that's coming and for the Oakland County staff that's here.
Yeah, because on top of that, we have to remember this is your crew is out there and you guys are out in the elements. Now, are firefighters and paramedics actually administering the shot, or are there people from the health department doing that?
It's all staff from the health department, and it's a great group of individuals. Again, I just heard some nice music playing in the background, a very positive attitude here. Ronnie, I hear so much of the negative news about I've been waiting so long for my vaccine and I can't get a vaccine and I can't do this. And I try to reframe this for folks. As soon as they get vaccine, they're calling up folks like me saying, can we get a clinic open and can we do it in just a few days? So they're doing it as fast as they possibly can get that vaccine out. People have to understand it's not the county, it's not the staff worker here that's slowing any process down. Every one of these folks is working to get you through this vaccine line and back to work or back to wherever you need to be just as quickly as they can.
So, Chief, which vaccine is being administered there?
Today, I believe, is a Moderna
So
day.
with that, I know that one of the issues has to do with storage. Is Moderna, though, you don't have to have it the super code storage, correct?
Yeah, and I don't want to comment too much on those because I don't want to misspeak on any of that. What I do know is that the system that is set up here where the folks that are drawing up the vaccine are actually in a different spot. So they have that very controlled. And then they have a runner that is bringing that vaccine out just in time as these cars are rolling up. So I don't want to give you the impression that there's all these vaccines that are drawn up and sitting out here. It's not the case. The county staff that's here, they have this down to a science. And again, by the time you pull in to the time you're in this parking lot, I got to imagine it can't be much more than 4 to 6 minutes.
Wow, that has to be great. What's been the reaction from some of the people? I know that you've already received it, but for some of these individuals, they have to be pretty elated and relieved as well.
Well, I think so. Everyone's anticipating their turn, right? And when we think back to those discussions about how, I think we even had some discussions on the show about whether or not people would get the vaccine. Now you can see once it becomes available, everybody's anxious to get it. And we know that there are many loved ones, many seniors that have been in line and they're anxious to get it. All I can reinforce is we've made it this far. Let's not lose sight of the kindness and gratitude that has delivered us through this pandemic. And by all means, the folks that are here are trying to be part of the solution. They're definitely not part of the problem. So wherever those slowdowns are, it's well beyond the control of the staff that's here today and the staff that's been supporting it.
With that, I think I did see a study, the new study that came out is more than 80% of the people now are saying that they do want the vaccine. That's raised considerably over the past couple of months. Johnson & Johnson saying today that they could have clearance on that 1 dose shot as soon as the end of February. And I will say, Chief, that's the one I'm waiting for, because if I don't have to get 2 shots, I don't want to.
Sure. Well, and the thing is that's great about this. So the folks that are scheduled for their first shot today, they're leaving here knowing that 21 days from now, another Friday, 21 days from here, they're going to be right back here at Fire Station 1 for their second shot. And I have a feeling it might be a little colder on that the way things are going, but we're going to be ready for them, and we're going to continue to make sure that we can help in any way we can to get shots in the arms of Oakland County residents.
Hey, so with that, Chief, do you want to talk about the discussions about how it came about to use the firehouse, and will this continue throughout through the summer months as well, if needed?
Well, I think the big thing behind it is they're trying to, one of the multitude of reasons, but just one that I'm aware of, is this really keeps everybody isolated. So we don't have a group of people all trying to walk in and wait in a line and keep them distanced. By you staying in your car, we're able to achieve that physical distancing that is so very important, and you're not touching any high touch surfaces on the way in and out of a building. So there's advantages to this. And again, I think the biggest one too in this kind of weather is just that you stay in your car. Everything is well salted here. We got a safe campus for this to happen on. We got the support of West Bloomfield Police on Orchard Lake Road. It really is a nice solution, and we're getting good feedback from the staff here. And I see plenty of waves and smiles as people are exiting the property. They're glad they have the vaccine.
It's great that you guys are doing this and being able to be a part of the solution as well. And so we know it's freezing cold out there today. Not a good day for the weather, right?
Well, that's the other thing is you see if you're able to see any of the staff walking by, they are ready for it. They are upbeat. They are sending a positive message about the vaccine. They're making sure everyone is screened. The nurses, they have a registered nurse that walks with a backpack through the parking lot monitoring. Everyone has a time on their windshield, so the nurse knows what time they got their vaccine. And after those 15 minutes, there's just a little wave and away they go. And there really haven't been any problems here, nobody with a complication or anything like that. And if there is somebody, time, those cars, Tyler, they are ready for everything here, this Oakland County staff. And again, I can't say enough great things about them and what a pleasure it is to work with them.
Well, and that goes to you and your team members as well. Chief, though, I have to ask, on a day like today, were you worried that there could be additional accidents and your crews would be needed elsewhere, or did you staff additional people anticipating being able to service all parts of the fire industry today?
Well, what we did here is our operations is moved out of Fire Station 1. You won't see any fire trucks in here during the vaccine clinic. It would just be too chaotic with over 500 vehicles coming onto the property and running emergency operations out. So those trucks have been moved to one of the other 5 other fire stations in the township. There's going to be no change in operations as far as response. Those units are all available. But here's the point that I want for anybody who is concerned that their fire trucks aren't in this station. The fire department, the township, is committed to the overall health and wellness of our residents and the residents surrounding the greater West Bloomfield area. This is very much within our wheelhouse, very much within our focus of public health. And again, this is exactly what public buildings like this should be leveraged for, to make sure that we can safely get that vaccine into folks' arms and keep them healthy.
It really is one of the best ways to do it, because you do have a covered area for people to drive through as well, so that the workers can be shielded from the elements outdoors, because I know some of the earlier ones were in parking lots. And so you were having to go car to car as they were driving through. So this is really a great solution. So, but anything we didn't ask you, Chief, that you want to touch on? I know you're freezing out there.
Well, no, I'm dressed for it too. A couple things. There's no need to call the fire station and ask us what we're doing today or if you can get a vaccine, because the fire department is not scheduling those appointments. We're simply providing a building. So if folks are calling Fire Station 1, there is no staff here to answer that phone. Clearly, those are all non-emergency calls. Calling fire headquarters or town hall, again, unfortunately, we are not able to schedule folks. The other thing is if the clinic is ending at 4 o'clock, please do not come here thinking that there's going to be extra vaccine. They have this down to a science. They have a procedure for once they open a vaccine vial, if there's additional doses that they need to use. Nothing is going to waste, but there's no need for people to line up or show up in hopes of extra vaccine. It won't happen that way. There's a procedure that they follow.
It's good that you brought that up, because I have heard of people doing that in anticipation of thinking that there would be vaccines left over at the end of the day. And from what you were saying, everyone is pretty much keeping their appointment so far, despite the weather that's out there.
Oh, for sure. The parking lot's full. I can see cars backed up in both columns here behind me. And this is how it's supposed to work. And again, I know I'm so pleased that we didn't cancel this because there's a little bit of snow. We know our residents, we know the folks of Oakland County want this vaccine. And Ronnie, this is demonstrating that. They're saying, hey, it's Michigan, we're okay with the snow. We really want that vaccine and we want it to start working today. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're gonna do all the way until they get all 500 of these vaccines in.
Things still going pretty smoothly there?
Things are going great here. Again, I can't compliment the Oakland County staff enough. They really have this whole clinic thing down to a science. Everybody's in the right spot. Cars are moving through. They put through about 20 cars every 15 minutes through the vaccine clinic. So that is from the point that they check in outside of the apparatus room where I am right now at Fire Station 1, till they move through and all the way across into the south lot by the tennis courts in front of the high school. 20 cars that are moving through here. And there's just a steady stream that you're going to see keep coming in behind me here.
I know that there was probably a little bit of concern this morning when we saw the weather, but that seems to not have impacted people making the decision to honor their appointment and get the vaccine.
Right. As you know, there's a lot of demand for the vaccine. And I know that there's many folks that were saying, nuh-uh, I got my appointment. I'm going to take advantage of that and I'm going to make there. And really, again, Oakland County, on my commute in, I come from the far east side. Road commissions across the Tri-County area have done a rock solid job of keeping those roads safe. And it's no different here in West Bloomfield. Roads are very passable. If you have an appointment at any of the clinics today, I would encourage you to keep that appointment.
So Chief, I know that for the most part, your work there is to provide the location. Members of the health department are doing a lot of the work with the actual clinic and getting the doses in. But is there any advice for people that are coming there for the first time that maybe you've seen other people not follow, that you want to share with them if they are going to be coming out to the clinic later today? Really,
it is just arrive at your appointed time. That's when things flow the best, because they have, again, 20 people coming in at every 15 minutes. So there's no need to arrive 30 minutes early or 40 minutes early to get into a line. We don't want any lines. We want everyone just showing up and moving right through. And again, I want to thank our friends at West Bloomfield PD who are out there monitoring Orchard Lake Road just to make sure everything keeps moving smoothly, especially on a day like today.
So with that, should people have someone drive them, or they're okay to drive after they get the shot?
Sure, they're absolutely okay to drive. Most people that are coming here are by themselves, although we have had some folks that both have gotten an appointment today. So they come in and the nurses just move to both sides of the car and 2 doses are in and, and away they go. So it's good. Again, I can't stress enough that you need an appointment to come here today. The phones have been ringing here occasionally at the fire station. We're not answering them. These are our non-emergency lines. We're not answering those phone calls because nearly 99% of them are folks asking if they can come here today to get a clinic to get a shot. And the answer is no. There is no on-demand vaccine here. Everything's by scheduled appointment only.
Yeah, and I know, Chief, earlier you had mentioned people, even if they don't, some people are showing up at some of these clinics at the end of the day, anticipating that there would be leftover vaccines for maybe people who didn't show up. You're saying that's not the case.
Ronnie, they have this down. They're so good at this that literally the staff at the check-in is communicating with the vaccine folks inside the fire station. So as they get to the end of the day, they're calling in for the exact number of vaccines to be drawn up, because if they don't break and constitute that vial, then they're able to save that and schedule the more appointments and move that forward. So again, when you look at the number of people that need vaccine and how they have the science of administering this down so efficiently for people to show up, we just need to let the health department do what they do well, which is putting vaccine into people's arms. They're coordinating here. They actually, Ronnie, they're running an incident command system, which really makes guys like me smile, because they have a person here that is the incident commander. There's different chiefs, if you will, within the roles here. They rotate through their breaks, and all of that is done so there's not one delay in moving cars in here. You wouldn't even know that it's happening because there's no delays, and they keep their staff fresh, they keep them warm, and they're keeping vaccine going into arms.
So, Chief, how often will you be doing this at the fire station?
Well, this is what we would call what I would call on our schedule here for my team, a first shot clinic. So there is going to be a second shot, and it's 21 days from now. So we know when we commit to one of these that we're committing to another clinic 21 days from now. So when Oakland County Health calls up, we say, how can we help? That's what we do, because we know that our residents have loved ones that live in Bloomfield Township and in Commerce and friends and family. So anything we can do to put a clinic available for anybody in this zip code or surrounding zip codes to get here, the WBFD is going to do that. And we have the full support of the township board to put resources like the police department, like parks helping us out to keep the parking lot safe, like water and sewer lending a hand to put down some additional rock salt and use their bigger trucks to do that. It's a team effort in the township to help the health department get these vaccines to our residents.
It's probably important too for the people who came to one location to be able to come back to that same location to help relieve any confusion about where they go for that second dose.
I think it's a very good idea with how they're scheduling that. So now everyone says, oh no, I know the routine. I pull in to this entrance and I go across by the parking lot, by the tennis court. So they're familiar for that second round. And you're right, that brings a little bit of comfort and reduces the anxiety for some folks. Really, the most challenging part, Ronnie, is the nurse over there prefers everyone to back in. Now, this is one thing when you go to a fire station, you'll notice most of the firefighters back into their parking spots. But this isn't something that all people like to really do, back into a spot. So if there's one high risk, and I say that with a smile on my face, it's over in that parking lot where we're having people back in so that the nurse can see everybody through the windshield. And that's the rationale behind that. They have them crack the window. The nurse can walk right down the center of the parking lot, see everybody to make sure they're okay. And then if anybody is in distress, they simply tap their horn and the nurse will move right to them and render any assistance.
And it's great that you also have people there as well, that if there is a need to get some help, people are on hand to be able to help those individuals. Hey, Chief, you guys have been on the front line of this pandemic from the very start. You don't have the option of working remotely or not going into work one day. What's it like for you personally and as a leader to be able to see this? Is it hopeful for you?
Very much so. We've been saying that this is coming. I have a great deal of confidence in the system. Where I get frustrated, Ronnie, is where folks start to come in and they want to nitpick little pieces of it out. When if you look at the totality of what has happened since March of 2020, wow, that's what I say. Wow, look at what we've accomplished. Here we are. We were letting nobody in the fire station months ago, and now what have we done? The fire station is one of the places where we want people to come to get that vaccine. So we need to spend a little more time celebrating the successes of over 500 vaccines going into arms today, instead of focusing on the fact that there may be a little snag in the distribution from the manufacturers. It doesn't matter. We are controlling what we can control with Oakland County Health, with the township officials here, and we're making the best out of it. And we're going to keep doing that day after day after day, because it's what we do.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is we have to remember we haven't done this before. I mean, it's been 100 years since our last pandemic, and what we are lucky for this time around is to have the technology that we have. Because could you imagine, even if this was 20 years ago, or we had those bag phones, cell phones,
Yeah, sure.
This would be an entirely different conversation.
Well, and Ronnie, I'm still wearing my mask. I've had both shots. I'm well beyond 2 weeks of my second shot. I'm at the highest level of any kind of efficacy that I'm going to have with a vaccine. But I still want to model for folks that this is what right looks like. And I'm going to continue to wear my mask until it's time that the leadership says, hey, we can dial this back, that we need to. Still washing my hands, still trying to keep some distance. I very much look forward to going out to dinner when that is, again, the restaurants around me open up and it's safe, because I see waitresses and waiters that do a good job. I see responsible business owners across the greater West Bloomfield area anxious to provide a safe environment for their patrons to come in. And that's what I'm excited about. And that's what I'm so glad, the things that you guys highlight on the show, what we're doing well. It's so easy to pick apart when we're not being as successful as we want to be, but there is so much good that's happening. Thank you for highlighting so many of those stories.
Well, and the great thing about this too is it looks like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is going to start being available by the end of February, fingers crossed. And again, that one is a one-shot dose, which is going to help get more people vaccinated even quicker. So Chief, we appreciate your time. I will say it's kind of weird for me to be on this end, to be sitting in a warm home, drinking coffee while you're out there freezing, because I remember years being on your side of the camera.
Well, it's a good day here in West Bloomfield. Again, I just really encourage people, be patient, be kind. Everybody around here, the hospitals, all of the clinics are trying to get as many people in as you can. So just understand that we know everybody has a compelling story. We know everybody wants to get their loved ones a vaccine. Your turn is coming. Be kind, and we'll be grateful when your turn does come.